city, that park really lies with Scott and P and Z for them to say it's the right size, wrong size, or it's enough acres. Would that be the way it works, Scott, in the end?
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit when I did my report, because we discussed it at our meeting also, so that was a concern of ours too.
Okay. All right, Jacob's street report.
Do you want to touch on the grade at the park?
Butch might be a better one for that. I know that that's a Todd Myrie deal that he's doing down there with Zacharias.
Are you talking
Sunset.
about Sunset?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think part of the parks report.
Yeah, they've done, DGR has volunteered, and Todd Myrie has done grades, and they've come back with a plan. I think they're gonna have a laser with the GPS on it there tomorrow to do the grading of the field.
What's the timeline for the project?
I just saw a text before the meeting started, and Todd, they'll actually have it graded tomorrow if it all works, and they level all the dirt down today with the blade and the dozer, and apparently they have a volunteer to drill the seed and fertilize, so Chad's watching over that and wants to make sure that seed is a dormant seed and fertilized for spring.
Yeah. Do we have soccer that plays there in the fall or spring? No.
I've never seen anybody play
Rules
soccer.
that just play with there?
There's been times there where they've had some practices there, the kids that play in Sioux Falls have practiced there,
Okay.
but there's no organized soccer down there at all.
Is the watering it that needs in the spring, is that, you know, if that's city's responsibility or somebody from the football association's gonna?
There's been some floating around of having fire trucks come down and spray it down. It's a work in progress. Let's just say that.
We did start out when football started watering it with our city water truck, and it was to no avail without any other rain and all the kids, so I think Mike with the fire department is going to help out with it.
Have we ever looked at putting a sprinkler system out there?
They talked about it, but it's very expensive, and then all we have is a hydrant down there.
Yeah.
That's
The water line isn't nearly enough to handle it down there. You have to put in a long water line.
Do we know how far that hydrant lead is from the main? Does the main run through there?
The water line now comes from West 6th Street up between the last two new houses, and then comes south across the drainage ditch, and then comes east to the hydrant. So 600, 700, 800 feet. That's where the shutoff is, up by 6th Street, West 6th Street.
Okay.
Okay, street report, Jacob.
We're gonna do some patching this week on some areas in town. And then our crews are working on cleaning out the drainage way in Sunset Park. And winter's coming, it's starting to get cold out there, so looking forward to getting the plow crews back up and running.
Okay, Scott, planning and zoning.
Okay, so we had a regular scheduled meeting. The only thing on the agenda was the Schoenfelder edition that was submitted by the CHRC. Now, that is, we don't even consider that a concept plan at this point, because it's not to scale. It's more of a thought of what could be there. So, I mean, it's not official, so of course they are right now just looking for public opinion, board opinion. So we got together and we had the same discussion that you guys had, also looked at it. So what the requirement is for public open space is 1 acre per 75 lots. So there was more than 75 lots, or they can pay a fee if it is accepted by the city, which is a $200 fee per dwelling. So that would be per single family, and then how many ever dwellings they put in their R2 space. So there is a fee that could be incorporated in lieu of, but of course, and we've had this conversation many times, that parks come at a premium, and we will be seeking the park area. Now, to address.
Parks Board feels the same way.
Yep, so just to address, because we had the same concern you had, we talked to Butch a little bit about it, about how we could possibly incorporate a pond area. So what our ordinance says for the subdivision says wetlands, pond areas, and drainage ways accepted by the city may not be considered in the public open space fee and or land dedicated to the city. So basically what that says is that whole area that's a pond cannot be considered the only dedicated park. So now if there was enough open space around that, and the one thing that we would require if we're gonna incorporate that into a park somehow, some way, is that as it develops to the south, that we would make sure that we got in our future use map and our comprehensive plan, that the adjoining development to the south would also incorporate a pond area to make that more viable, rather than a very small pond area. Then that would be a little more viable, I guess, as we move forward. But yeah, I don't envision that, and I'm just one sitting on the board. I don't envision that being a dedicated park, I guess. It does not meet the definition for the ordinance. Now, if they dedicate some more space and incorporate the pond so it meets the requirement for the 1 acre per 75, I guess then we're could possibly work with that. But no, we have the same concern that your board had too. So, and like I said, I think this is just a concept-ish plan that they've submitted, just looking to see what everybody thinks. Also, another concern that we had as a board is when you have residential R1, R2, and you have railroad tracks that are adjacent to that property, you have some additional setback requirement. Normally it's 30 feet, but obviously 30 feet off your backyard. Now, I do have to look and see if the railroad has a 50-foot easement there also, which I'm assuming most railroad is 50. So that would still be 80 feet of setback, so that's still a pretty good setback, but I'm just not sure. We haven't done development up against railroad tracks since I've been on the board, so I'm not sure what the industry standard is. I'd have to get with Jesse on that, see what their recommendation would be off of a railroad track and residential, but 80 feet railroad may be adequate. So I just, with the drawing that we have now, with the sketch plan, it's pretty hard to tell without not being to scale what the intent was there, So another issue that Bill is here, right? Yep, so Bill and I still have lingering a accessory building non-compliance issue across the street over here. Started off with being too close to the property line, too big without a permit, and now we have a height issue. And it appears to be, that's about done over there, isn't it? So they know, I've been in contact.
Then they've been told that it needs to come down.
Yeah, so they're aware that it's too tall. We've had a conversation with them, so I guess it's up to them to fix it.
One other thing you brought up on that park was to make sure there was parking for the park, access and parking.
Yep, so I'll come to the same meeting that you go to, Andrew, and we'll collectively have a conversation about that. And I know that'll eat up some of their property over there, but yes, correct, parking and actual park space, not a drainage. So,
Is there a formula on parking?
yeah, so, well, parking, I have to look at the parking piece of it, but it is 1 acre of dedicated parkland per 75 lots.
Yeah, but I mean just for car parking or,
I have to, I'll take a look into it.
all right, we'll go on to Bill is here with the building inspector's report.
First of all, we got a concept plan, and I give you a copy of that from the school. I want to start dirt work on it. One thing we don't have, there's terminology both in the IBC, IRC, and City Ordinance Planning and Subdivision, planning and subdivision lots and regulations for a grading and excavating permit. we have no fee for that. We've had requests for twice now in this last month for our grading permit, and there's no fee for it to charge for it. I get the valuation to look at it, Scott gets a copy of it, the city's spending money for us to sit and review it. I think it's only fair that we charge. Other cities do charge fee for it, it's $50 flat fee, and I'd like to see us amend our resolution to include that into a grading permit fee.
So just to clarify, we're issuing those now, we're just not charging for them?
They haven't been that major yet. This one's gonna start getting major if they start that development over there. That was gonna be a major thing.
So what size, I know in Sioux Falls, I might be wrong, but when I was getting them there, Jesse, maybe you know, but I thought it was for anything an acre or bigger.
I don't typically pull the permits on, I was thinking of just a typical $50 flat fee, but it could be based on.
I mean, do we have to get one for every house? Or?
No, because the house is already figured in with, the fee isn't figured in the
Okay.
building permit for that.
So we have to word it, I guess, so we don't get caught up in,
Anything that's non-residential, you know, for grading for commercial or other residential lots of any size.
this something we can have ready for next meeting? Or do you want something that says we need to charge Tri-Valley $50 to look at the grading fee?
Well, it would go not to Tri-Valley School, but it go to the company that's doing the work.
But you're gonna have to draft and approve it anyway, so it can't be done right now anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I wrote up the resolution and Toby says we just amend the existing fee.
Yeah, you can amend resolutions by 3/4 majority of the city council.
Just as of right now without it in front of you.
So we have a resolution.
Yeah, we have a fee and fine resolution, you can amend
Oh.
resolutions by motion, so.
But we really have no basis for fee schedule for grading.
I think it's just a flat fee
It's
like
just
Bill.
flat. I'm on the Sioux Falls, it's just flat $50 regardless of,
Do they do a government entity exemption?
I was wondering, do we want to charge, are we charging the school for building permits?
Who's actually building the building?
Should be like anybody else.
Well, because they're a non-profit type organization, they're,
Sioux Falls School pays building permits. It's because usually the contractor owns the building until it's done and finished.
You can do your fee thing here. I have some verbiage in my ordinance that I can approve, the board planning and zoning can approve all the way up to the plat, can exempt everything all the way up to the plat for government entities. So we do have some ability to exempt. I just don't have the number on this right now.
Not really, fee and fine resolutions, for example, engineering development, is fee charged by the years of their.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is I have verbiage in there where I can exempt all that stuff all up to a plat, so. Only for, but like I said, I gotta digest it, but that shouldn't affect what you guys decide right now.
So you're charged for a plating fee of $50. There's other fees in there for, you know, subdivision, plating, such, this and that, that's all $50.
Yeah, I gotta.
what's your building rental for a government agency? What's your building rental for a government agency?
Well, the permit fee is open to the public.
School's open to the public.
Not really. You have to show up at a school, kids not enrolled there. How are you doing? Oh, it's visiting the school, you know.
Well, the school did let bids for the site work last Friday, and I don't know if they ordered it Friday, but they were let. And the site work on their bidding document has to be done by the 4th of December.
They plan on start grading the 15th. They want to get it done and get it leveled out and get it so it settles before they start building next spring.
well, to keep it simple, I mean, if we're gonna pass or amend our resolution for fee and add a grading fee, that should be happening regardless of whether we charge the school or not, it's a whole separate conversation. You know what I mean? I mean,
Agreed.
it
It
is.
is.
I mean, the
Yes.
permit fee is a permit fee. If we as a council want to make a choice and not charge somebody, that's a whole separate case by case.
It is, yes.
I don't disagree with amending our fee resolution to add a grading permit fee.
You want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any other discussion on to add a grading permit fee of $50 to our schedule?
For non-residential, is that just, as long as we say non-residential?
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
All right,
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Anything else, Bill?
Yes, I guys gave you the inspections report as of, well, I took a few of the permit late this afternoon, so, that isn't figured in these figures. Building permits issued so far this year, you have 83.